Give the Drummer Some is sponsored by Supernova Drum Company. Bespoke drums made with unique shell combinations using many different species of wood. Supernova Drum Company, truly custom drums. Visit supernovadrums.com and facebook.com/supernovadrumco for more details.
Give the drummer some.
Dig that crazy rhythm.
It's nice to see you back in the old groove again, Daddy.
14 mounted toms, 8 floor toms, 4 splashes, 2 gongs, 10 cowbells, 4 rides, 5 snares, man. A roto-tom rack.
And it's all mounted on my infamous quadruple kick drum system.
Hey! Please touch my drum set! Hey, knock it off!
Well, if we could move on to quite a low point in your life, you suffered a stroke a couple of years ago. How did it happen?
Strangely and oddly enough, it happened. Well, I think it happened technically during the middle of a show, but it didn't affect me until an hour after.
Right.
And it was from years and years, from what my doctor told me, years and years of throwing my head around as I do, which I still kind of do, but not as violently as I used to.
Right.
But it was just from the action of, banging my head a lot that in fact, the vertebrae in my neck, where your artery goes through your vertebrae, one in the back of your neck, your vertebral artery, that got ripped. The inside wall lining of it got damaged and created a blockage and did some nerve damage as well to the bit of parts of my cerebellum, the lower part of my brain, which is all my motor skills. That's what messed me up. And I guess what they call a TIA. That's the name of that stroke. It was a mild stroke. It wasn't like inside my brain. It was outside.
Right.
But it affected me. It did some neurological damage a little bit, but I feel great though. Otherwise, I feel fine. I got a little bit of tingling issues here and there, a little bit of nerve issues on my left side here and there, but that's about it. I'm able to play, so it took a while for me to get back on kit. I was pretty much out for a good 7 months.
Right.
After that tour, we had 2 weeks left on that tour and we had to cancel it all. There's no way, so
Yeah.
I went home and I was on blood thinners and all kinds of medication for a good 6-7 months. And I didn't touch the kit. I was scared to, I was scared to even move. I couldn't walk, first off. I had no balance. I couldn't drive for 2 months. I had to hold on to things to walk. I was walking really slow, like if I were 98 years old. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
I had a droopy eyelid. One eye was looking this way, one eye was that way. Well, my speech was fine. So yeah, it took a while. It took about a couple months to get back to normal. Let those nerve endings grow back better, and the inner wall lining of my artery to go back to normal, which it did. So now I have all 4 arteries working, thank God.
Right.
It's funny because I remember at first the doctor was saying I was never going to be the same, and then the second doctor I went to is like, well, they don't know what they're talking about. It's going to heal up. You're going to be fine. And I was. So
Yeah. So it was during a show. Where was the show? Was it in America or?
It was in America. It was in Des Moines, Iowa, actually, at of all places, at this thing called Laser Fest. We headlined it. It was actually us and Avenged Sevenfold. We were just come off a long tour together. We did like a good 4 or 5 months off and on. And that was the last show we were going to play together and see each other for a while, because I think we were going to go to Europe after that.
Right.
So, yeah, an hour after I was done, I was basically just hanging out with Avenged Sevenfold guys, just going from bus to bus, doing our farewells to all the bands that we were on tour with, we're all having our drinks in our hands and, cheersing, yay, high-fiving. Next thing I know, they're picking me up off the floor in their bus and just kind of shaking me, like, because I totally, it felt like someone, just pulled a plug out from the outlet, and I just went down like a frickin' sack of potatoes. I had no idea what happened until they picked me up, and I remember looking at I think it was picked me up. It was Brian actually. Gates, Senator Gates picked me up. He's like shaking me by my lapels. Like, you all right, dude? I'm like, I don't think so. He's like, you wasted? I'm like, I'm not wasted. I've only had 2 beers. He's like, sit down. And so I sat down and I was like, I still don't feel right. And I got up again and then I fell down again. They're like, no, you got to sit down. All of a sudden I felt like my legs weren't working right. And my vision was a little bit blurry. And I thought for a second what I thought, well, we all thought, I thought that I might have put my drink down and someone might have duped my drink with that lucky little roofie, you know. we're going around so many different buses and so many different parts of backstage, and there were so many people back there. Like it could have been, and it could have happened that way, but ultimately that wasn't the fact. You know, when I woke up the next morning feeling even weirder. Like I really couldn't feel my left side, and I was on the bus when I woke up, and I thought the bus was moving. And I remember poking my head out of my bunk and then getting up in the hallway, and I could see the rest of my band sitting up front. I go, hey, can you tell the guy, you tell the driver to ease up on the brakes and like slow down a little bit? And they all like turn around and looked at me. They're like, we're not moving. And I'm like, you're kidding. Oh. So then right then and there, I knew something was wrong. So then I checked myself into a hospital. We were in Fargo, North Dakota. On a day off after the Des Moines gig. Right. So I checked into the hospital there. They did an MRI and a CT on me, and then so they came at me and told me what I had. And I was pretty much in disbelief. I'm like, there's no way I can have a stroke. I go, well, first of all, I'm too young for that. Second of all, I don't do drugs. I don't binge. I don't drink, crazily. You know, I do have my drink, but I'm not like wake up at 9 a.m, drink, and then go to bed to drink. I don't do that. You know, I'm pretty well fit. You know, I eat right. You know, so what's the problem? It's like, well, we're gonna find out. So then they did another scan on me and did the MRI on me, and that's when they came at me with, you tore your inner wall lining of your artery from, they kept asking me, were you in a traffic accident? Were you this and that? And I told them I'm a drummer. And then they said, okay, how do you play? How high do you sit? And this, and that. So I was like, I got sick of trying to explaining to them. So I just pulled up my computer and just showed them like a drum cam YouTube clip of what I do. And they're just like, wow, well, you can't be doing it like that anymore. Right. And so they told me, you got to do this, and that, just maybe sit a little higher and bring things down a little lower, which I did. And, I did that later. I pretty much had to relearn how to play because I was playing in such a different manner. It was crazy. But I'm still compelled to move a little bit because it's just part of my timing and this is part of who I am as a player. Yeah. But I don't really swing myself around like I used to, and that's okay. If anything, I feel like I'm playing better now than I ever have because I'm more focused now. Yeah. So it's a blessing. Yeah.
Well, I read. I might be wrong here, but after the stroke, I read that Stone Sour, the rest of the guys in the band, they didn't want to take another drummer on, so they sort of went on a brief leave until you got better. Is that right?
That's definitely true.
So that just shows, what a true sort of brotherhood the band is to do something like that. You're not sort of. They're not wanting to take another drummer on and then you come back. They're sort of standing fast by you getting better.
It says a lot. But they had to actually do one show without me, only because we were obligated to, and it was already set in stone, and it'd be stupid for them not to. Right. Yeah. And not to mention, I was still recovering, but I was also expecting my baby. Right. She was going to be born the day that we were going to play, and that was in Rock in Rio, and that's when we got Mike Portnoy to play, because he'd already been on tour with us previously and already knew the song, so we thought it was a no-brainer. Yeah. And he was a friend of ours, so it was like, well, just do it. So that was the one time that they played without me. But yeah, other than that, they weren't going to do anything else other than that. And yeah, that definitely says a lot about them. Yeah. Not going on without me. I told them I was, go for it. They're like, no way. I mean, I was all ready for them to go on without me, to be honest. But the fact that they didn't really morally help me a lot, mentally. Yeah. And enabled me to get back on the horse, so to speak.
Yep.